In front of the world, Prince William and Queen Camilla's relationship became quite awkward. Camilla ended up crying because she felt so humiliated, and nobody anticipated it. The drama began when King Charles found himself in a precarious situation after William flatly rejected Camilla's desire to have her son attend a royal function. He was forced to decide between his son and his wife. Stay tuned as we explore how things got so awful. William and Camilla's conflict has been simmering for some time. There is more to Prince William than meets the eye. As the future King of England, he will be subject to high expectations and pressure. As the firstborn child of King Charles III and the adored Princess Diana, he was immediately thrown into the spotlight upon his arrival at St. Mary's Hospital in London on June 21, 1982. William realized as a child that his life would never be fully his own. Every action and statement he made had an impact on the entire monarchy, not just on himself. William has received a lot of recognition for his handling of his duties over the years, having skillfully balanced tradition and advancement. His responsibilities range from organizing diplomatic gatherings to spearheading significant humanitarian initiatives, particularly in the fields of environmental preservation and mental health. However, the strain on his shoulders increased further upon the death of Queen Elizabeth II in September 2022. William was formally crowned Prince of Wales after his father succeeded to the throne, bringing him even closer to the monarchy and putting him in greater public attention than before. The royal family, meanwhile, was still dealing with the aftermath of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's shocking departure in 2020. The monarchy was thrown into one of its most difficult crises in recent memory as a result of their departure and the startling charges they eventually made. William emerged as the constant thread that held everything together. However, despite his best efforts to control the tumult outside, internal family strife was brewing, this time including Queen Camilla. There has always been controversy around Camilla's position in the royal family. The public, particularly those who remained fervently loyal to the late princess, never really warmed up to her because she was once at the core of the notorious love triangle between Charles and Diana. Tension only increased when she was promoted from Duchess of Cornwall to Queen Consort upon Charles's coronation. Even though she devoted her life to raising awareness of issues like domestic abuse and literacy, many people still had doubts about her. The scenario was anything but straightforward behind closed doors. William had struggled for years to balance his commitment to his mother's heritage with his duty to his father. Even while he progressively assumed more royal duties, everything changed when Camilla became queen. Their connection was initially cordial but aloof. However, William's discomfort increased along with Camilla's influence. He concealed his own feelings since he was bound by royal duties. In his heart, however, he was unable to forget how he had originally perceived Camilla as the reason behind his mother's suffering. As Charles ascended to the throne, their tension only grew. With her new position, Camilla gained notoriety in the monarchy and was now present at important events with the king. William, however, was no longer merely the heir apparent. He was actively influencing the institution's course. With that, his ideas for the monarchy began to conflict with some of Camilla's increasing power. Then the moment that took everyone by surprise arrived. Camilla's plea was firmly denied by William. She was shocked by it, and the royal household was in chaos. What may have prompted him to act so daringly? Continue reading to find out what happened. The magnificent occasion that started it all was supposed to be held at the ancient Windsor Castle and be an evening of charity, harmony, and tradition. In a festival of giving and service, the royal family was getting ready to greet dignitaries, powerful people, and philanthropists. Although everything seemed tasteful and sophisticated on the outside, conflicts were brewing behind the scenes. What was meant to be a demonstration of royal stability swiftly devolved into an ugly and widely reported power struggle between Camilla and William. William's startling choice to exclude Camilla's oldest son, Tom Parker Bowles, from the occasion was at the heart of it all. For years, Tom had been well known in royal circles, but he had never been officially involved in state issues. As an outsider, Tom had always been, in contrast to the senior royals who were subject to rigid procedure. He was a respected novelist and cuisine critic who was uninterested in the rigid customs of royal life. But those boundaries had been compromised by his mother's ascent to the position of queen consort, leading to mounting conflict over his place in the household. Camilla had apparently pushed hard to get Tom on the guest list in the run-up to the event. She saw it as a symbolic act that would usher in a new era of acceptance and a modest but significant step toward completely integrating her family into royal life. However, this was more than just a guest list to William. It had to do with values. He was adamant that the monarchy's hierarchy and customs were its greatest assets. Tom was not a member of the royal bloodline, regardless of how close he was to the family. Furthermore, letting him participate in such a significant occasion would create a precedent that William was unable to accept. He made a snap decision that could not be changed. Tom's name was conspicuously missing from the finalized official guest list. Unwilling to accept the decision, Camilla filed several appeals. William, however, refused to move. Their already tense relationship took a further hit, and what might have been a private argument quickly became public knowledge. Tensions peaked on the night of the incident. The beautiful sight of Windsor Castle's huge gates welcomed guests who had come in their best clothes. But then the unexpected moment arrived. According to reports, Tom Parker Bowles, who had fully expected to go with his mother, was turned away at the door. He was insulted and astonished when security, acting on strict orders, refused him access. The moment was absolutely sad for Queen Camilla. She was forced to keep up a graceful front for the cameras, but anyone who paid close attention could see the struggle going on underneath. Not only was her son's absence a regrettable blunder, but it also served as a clear indication that her family would always be on the periphery of the monarchy's inner circle, regardless of how far she had climbed. There was no denying the sense of shame. Everyone in her immediate vicinity witnessed an uncommon display of vulnerability from a woman who had mastered the art of poise for years. According to insiders, William's choice was not motivated by any animosity toward Camilla. Rather, it resulted from his steadfast commitment to upholding the integrity of the monarchy. Williams, who was well known for his careful handling of royal duties, perceived Camilla's family's participation in significant occasions as a clear threat to the institution's venerable customs. His position sent a strong statement. No matter how tough the decision was, personal relationships could never obfuscate the distinct boundaries between private life and royal duty. The silent burden of history added still another level of stress. Although William and Camilla appeared to have a friendly relationship, Princess Diana, his late mother, was still very much present. Even though William had openly welcomed Camilla into the family, some close to him thought he was still quite protective of Diana's legacy. It may have seemed to William that letting Camilla's son play a bigger part in royal matters was a betrayal of the mother he lost so cruelly. The episode exposed more serious divisions within the royal family than just the immediate repercussions. Power battles, old wounds, and a continuous struggle for the future of the monarchy. His choice solidified William's position as the defender of royal custom. For Camilla, however, it served as a sobering reminder that she would never fully be free from the shadows of her past, regardless of her title. But is a fresh power battle within the palace just getting started? What more mysteries lie beyond the regal facade? Camilla was too hurt and disappointed to disguise it. It was a tough pill to chew that her son, Tom Parker Bowles, was not invited to the charity banquet at Windsor Castle. As visitors came that evening and reveled in the magnificent ambience of the painstakingly organized royal gathering, Camilla experienced an internal conflict that overpowered the beauty of the evening. It wasn't only that her kid wasn't on the guest list. Prince William himself made the deliberate choice. It was a harsh reminder that, even being queen, some doors would always be closed to her and her loved ones for a woman who had spent decades establishing her position in the royal family. According to those close to Camilla, she was immediately rendered speechless by the shock. For the majority of her life, she had been subjected to constant media attention, but this seemed different. Neither the public nor the media attacked this. She had fought so hard to bring her family together, and now they were rejecting her. Camilla had always been on a tightrope as a mother and a queen. When it came to her children, her protective instincts never faltered, even though she had mastered the duties of her position. Tom's absence served as a direct reminder of her limited influence and was not merely a matter of royal formality. Sources claim that she was extremely offended by William's choice because she perceived it as a rejection of all the work she had done to unite their families. Nevertheless, Camilla made a decision in spite of the pain of rejection. She would not strike back. Rather, she swallowed her suffering and faced another task head-on. Those who know Camilla well, however, see her as a realist. A lady who is aware of the fine balance needed to negotiate the inflexible structures of the monarchy. Even though she was still hurting from her son's banishment, she knew that if she resisted too hard, she might destroy the delicate harmony she had worked so hard to build over the years. She apparently decided to internalize her annoyance rather than confront William directly, choosing to be quiet and resilient rather than openly defiant. This instance acted as yet another reminder of Camilla's continuous struggle. The ongoing balancing act between her public function as queen and her private role as a mother. Tom is one of her offspring who has mostly stayed away from royal life. These kinds of incidents highlight how hazy the distinction between family and monarchy is. Camilla has come to terms with the fact Looking back at a pivotal time on May 6, 2023, the surprising reasons behind Prince William's decision became even more apparent, despite its challenges. King Charles's coronation within Westminster Abbey was a magnificent show of royal majesty, rich in custom and meaning. The royal scepter, which shone in the cathedral's lights, was supposed to stand for power and justice. But tensions were simmering behind the surface of the magnificent celebration, suggesting rifts in the royal family that had been kept out of the public eye. Without a single word being said, one specific moment conveyed volumes to those who were paying close attention. Everybody in the audience bowed in awe as King Charles and Queen Camilla, newly crowned and recognized by the entire world, walked down the aisle. But not a single head moved when Camilla went by. There was no mistaking the quiet. A physical expression of tensions that had been accumulating for months, a startling display of spoken resentment. One contentious topic, Camilla's guest list, was the cause of the chilly reception. According to reports, she invited 20 of her closest friends and family members, including her son Tom Parker Bowles, but left out important people who had been instrumental in getting her accepted into the royal family. People who had previously been her closest supporters and those who had worked behind the scenes to make sure her assimilation into monarchy went as smoothly as possible were excluded from the list. Neither their marginalization nor Camilla's decision to put her inner circle ahead of those who had assisted her in becoming what she is today went unnoticed. Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, were among those most impacted by this choice. Their composure on the outside didn't cover up their underlying dissatisfaction. Known for her elegance and perfect poise, Catherine made a subtle but clear statement. She made the conscious decision to not extend Camilla the customary courtesy, a gesture that was more powerful than any formal speech. Prince Harry reportedly expressed similar frustrations, viewing his stepmother's actions as another crack in an already fragmented royal structure, despite his own tense relationship with the family. This guest list's effects went much beyond Coronation Day. Prince William made a conscious choice when it came time to supervise the Windsor Charity Gala guest list. There was no mention of Tom Parker Bowles. This was neither a simple oversight or a thoughtless error. It was a well-thought-out maneuver that conveyed the idea that past deeds are not simply forgotten and that allegiance within the royal family should never be taken for granted. The public and media quickly began analyzing the situation, as was to be expected. The escalating tensions were promptly picked up by the British media, which flooded headlines with dramatic depictions of yet another rupture within the monarchy. While some publications portrayed William's choice as a brutal reminder of the unseen obstacles that still define life in the palace, others presented it as a steadfast devotion to maintaining royal dignity and tradition. The royal world still presented challenges for Camilla's family, and Tom Parker Bowles' absence from a high-profile event was anything but a slight. It conveyed a powerful message, which the media quickly analyzed. Divergent views exploded on social media. Supporters of Williams praised his steadfast adherence to royal customs, believing that his acts were essential to maintaining the integrity of the monarchy. For them, duty and ancestry were more important than interpersonal relationships, reinforcing the natural order. Conversely, a lot of people felt sorry for Tom and Camilla, believing that the ruling was just another covert rejection of a family that had battled for years to be accepted by the monarchy. As new information came to light, the discussion intensified on multiple venues. Never one to pass up the chance to stoke rumors, royal sources suggested that this was not an unusual instance. Rather, it provided a unique window into a more profound and continuous conflict that had been smoldering in the background for years inside the House of Windsor. Eager to uncover the monarchy's hidden wounds, journalists started making links to unresolved conflicts and old grievances. They depicted a family that is still dealing with unresolved conflicts behind closed doors. News organizations looked into the ramifications and connected them to earlier royal conflicts that had only gotten worse over time. Experts argued about whether William's action was a result of a more general change in the monarchy's power structure or if it was just an inevitable conflict between strict tradition and changing family dynamics. There was no denying one reality. This was no mistake. It was a conscious choice taken with full knowledge of the consequences. A decision that, once made public, would remain in the memories of both the populace and those inside the palace. This incident exposed the subtle but evident divisions inside the royal establishment, shattering the idea of seamless unity for a family that carefully crafts its image. One important question persisted in the midst of all of this. What was King Charles's response? King Charles was dealing with a difficult situation that called for both power and diplomacy within the palace's imposing, stately walls, where private disputes frequently converge with public matters. This was no typical family conflict. It had developed into a developing PR problem that may perhaps jeopardize the monarchy. According to sources inside the palace, Charles Ever, the calm and calculating commander, recognized the intricacy of the issue. His rule depended on both Queen Camilla and Prince William, thus it was crucial to resolve this conflict without taking sides. There was nothing personal about William's choice to exclude Tom Parker Bowles from the guest list. It demonstrated his unwavering commitment to royal procedure. Charles saw the wider ramifications at play, even as he respected his son's dedication to maintaining tradition. This was much more than a list of invitations. It was a turning point that could either deepen the divisions within the monarchy or make them more apparent. Charles understood the rationale behind William's decision and accepted it behind closed doors. However, he also urged his son to think about how it might affect the family in the long run. Camilla also required assurance. Unquestionably, Tom's omission sends a message. One that would rekindle past scars and strengthen the persistent belief that her family would always be on the periphery of the monarchy. Charles made a conscious effort to keep things in balance during private conversations since he understood that every word and action had consequences. He saw that tradition alone was not enough to ensure the monarchy's continued existence. It called for flexibility, solidarity, and the capacity to resolve disputes before they became irreversible rifts. According to reports, Charles reassured Camilla that her value as a mother and a queen was not diminished by Tom's exclusion. He picked his remarks carefully, not just to comfort her but also to uphold her position in the monarchy. However, recognizing that retaining animosity would simply exacerbate already existing problems, he quietly promoted understanding over hatred. Charles realized that diplomacy was no longer sufficient and acted decisively. In an effort to diffuse the tension before it worsened, he called a private family meeting, bringing together the parties involved. This was not merely an attempt to resolve a specific conflict. It was a strategic decision to protect the monarchy's reputation. Charles informed Camilla and William of a basic fact during the meeting. The monarchy has traditionally relied on unity to be strong. Any obvious indication of discord may undermine the institution they had battled to preserve in the eyes of the world. Charles asked them to put aside their personal frustrations and concentrate on their joint obligations with his customary cool authority. Having titles and upholding customs were not the only aspects of being royal. It was about living up to the principles that had sustained the organization for generations. The last thing the monarchy needed was an internal conflict that was being openly displayed at a time when public scrutiny had never been higher. Although the conference ended quietly, its importance could not be denied. Charles had been clear about what he expected. Priority had to be given to unity. However, it was still unclear if those wounds could actually heal. But there was one thing that could not be denied. Within the palace walls, this was a moment that would not be forgotten anytime soon. But what tensions persisted behind closed doors? Was the monarchy more divided than ever, or could Charles actually bring people together? The royal family gave a well-planned portrayal of reconciliation after the Windsor charity function. There were kind grins, courteous conversations, and a practiced demonstration of harmony. The schism between Prince William and Queen Camilla, however, remained unresolved and simmered beneath the surface of royal propriety, as those who were familiar with palace affairs knew. An ongoing power struggle that had been subtly simmering since Camilla's ascent alongside King Charles III was at the core of this unsaid conflict. William had always been hesitant about her position in the monarchy because he was so devoted to royal traditions and rituals. His worries only grew as history changed how people perceived his mother, Princess Diana, whose legacy had frequently been eclipsed by Camilla's rise to prominence. Camilla, on the other hand, had proven herself for years, putting up endless effort to win over the British people and the very organization that had previously turned her down. Even after donning the crown for the first time, she encountered minor yet noticeable opposition. Despite his public demeanor, William persisted in doubting the validity of her position. When William made the deliberate choice to bar Tom Parker Bowles from important royal events, that conflict became unavoidable. It might have appeared to the outside world to be a small omission, quickly forgotten. But it had serious ramifications inside the palace gates. It was no coincidence that Tom was not there. It was a declaration. William established a purposeful and unambiguous boundary that indicated Camilla's family would never be completely accepted into the royal inner circle, regardless of how high she rose. Despite Camilla's ardent efforts to secure her position within the monarchy, William made it very evident that she had no authority to change the institution. They both understood that a face-to-face confrontation was not an option. The appearance of concord was essential to the monarchy's continued existence. Although they put on a united front in public, their opinions diverged behind closed doors. Despite having a similar objective, they approached royal engagements with quite distinct underlying motives. Always looking to consolidate her position, Camilla aimed to leave a legacy as a queen deserving of respect. One who would go down in British history as the longest reigning queen, Queen Elizabeth II. She desired to establish her place in the history of the kingdom. Its legacy bears her name. But William saw things completely differently. Even if it meant making personal sacrifices, his first goal as the future king was to ensure that tradition was upheld. The Windsor charity event appeared to confirm this purported unity in the eyes of the public. Moments of civility were captured on camera. A polite look, a quick word exchange, a nod. However, those who were familiar with the palace's inner workings understood that these minor gestures belied greater difficulties. Silent discussions among longtime royal employees suggested a precarious peace that may break at any point. Ever the mediator, King Charles tried to ease tensions by calling for unity for the benefit of the kingdom as a whole. But there was more than one point of contention between Camilla and William. It was an ideological conflict. A conflict between two opposing ideas on the future of the monarchy. They upheld public decorum out of responsibility and duty, but an unsaid power struggle continued behind the opulent palace doors. You should reconsider if you believe that Tom Parker Bowles was the only member of Camilla's family to be excluded. William had previously distinguished between Camilla's family and the monarchy. Annabel Elliot, her sister, also experienced rejection. It demonstrated the extent to which William was prepared to go in order to keep control of royal affairs. Camilla's family has been impacted by Prince William's feeling of responsibility on multiple occasions. Following a string of contentious rulings, Queen Camilla was the subject of yet another unexpected decision. Not only did it surprise her, but it also caused a stir throughout the whole royal family. The narrative begins in 2005 when renowned interior designer Annabel Elliot was hired by King Charles, who was then the Prince of Wales, as the principal architect for the Duchy of Cornwall and his extensive estate holdings. She had an important role in the renovation and decor of several prestigious houses, including estates in Wales and the Isles of Scilly, as well as upscale rental cottages in Cornwall. The Duchy of Cornwall, a historic estate created to provide revenue for the heir to the British throne, provided the majority of the funding for Annabel's work. Charles managed it for many years, assuring its success until September 2022, when he took the throne. Camilla's younger sister, Annabel, had been acknowledged for her important work in this capacity, and it was said that she had received a fair wage for it. As of September 2022, according to Duchy financial documents, she had received around $25,000 in fees and commissions, in addition to about $115,000 for the estate's furniture, furnishings, and retail merchandise purchases. As long as Charles was in command, this agreement held true. But all changed when he ascended to the throne and Prince William took over as Duke of Cornwall. William made a bold decision that marked a change in the way royal business would be handled as soon as he took over the duchy. The Telegraph reported that William decided not to extend Annabel's contract for 2023 to 2024. The message this decision sent was unavoidable, even though palace insiders maintained that it was not a direct criticism of Annabel's work. It was implied that her contributions had just come to a natural end and that the staff of the duchy had become sufficiently skilled under her tutelage to function without her supervision. But was there more going on here, or was this just a practical issue? Royal watchers were taken aback by the action, which stoked conjecture over whether William was purposefully excluding Camilla's family from the inner workings of the monarchy. If the fact that Tom had been barred from royal functions had served as a warning, then Annabel's contract termination seemed to strengthen that line, which William had no intention of letting Camilla exceed. According to recent rumors, Annabel Elliot will no longer be paid, formally ending her employment relationship with the royal family. This choice is significant because of Annabel's strong relationship with her sister, Queen Camilla, as well as her long-standing ties to the monarchy. The two have long had a close relationship and have often been seen together at public gatherings, such as Wimbledon in July 2003. Annabel's role in Camilla's life went well beyond helping her out. Along with other close relatives, she was a coronation attendant and played a crucial role in the Queen's coronation in May 2023. Prince William's management style differs significantly from his father's in the Duchy of Cornwall. William has adopted a more disciplined, efficiency-driven approach, prioritizing professionalism above familial ties, in contrast to Charles, who frequently combined duty and family. A change is shown by his determination to gradually remove Camilla's family from royal activities. One that might be indicative of a larger goal to modernize and guarantee increased financial openness. Although the precise amount is unknown, William is said to be dedicated to a more responsible financial structure than his father, even willingly paying income tax on his earnings. However, he deviates from long-standing customs by refusing to restore Annabelle's role. It remains to be seen if this change will change the future of the monarchy, but one thing is certain. Under William's rule, Camilla's influence is not at all assured. According to reports, this has caused the Queen a great deal of distress, especially as William continues to make adjustments to the royal finances. William assumed the centuries-old title of Duke of Cornwall, assuming authority of the huge duchy, after King Charles's coronation in September 2022. But the entire scope of William's financial strategy wasn't revealed until the joint annual report was made public on July 24. Annabelle Elliott was eventually fired from the royal payroll as a result of this revelation. For almost 20 years, Annabelle, a well-known interior designer, had been instrumental in managing the duchy's estates. She will not be compensated for her services for the first time in nearly 2 decades as a result of her departure. William's attempt to modernize and consolidate the duchy's financial processes, guaranteeing a more autonomous and business-focused approach, is directly responsible for this decision. This is more than simply a loss for Camilla's career. It is an obvious indication that William is redefining the monarchy's power structures. It's unclear if her anguish will cause more difficulties inside royal walls, but one thing is clear. The days of unchallenged family advantages are rapidly disappearing under William's direction. The Telegraph was informed by sources that Annabelle Elliott's termination was unrelated to her performance at work. At 75, Annabelle had been instrumental in the modernization and renovation of the Duchy of Cornwall's vacation homes in Cornwall, Wales, and the Isles of Scilly for 20 years. Her contributions had garnered her hundreds of thousands of pounds over the years, creating a lasting impression on the duchy's aesthetic and practical appeal. Within royal circles, Prince William's decision to fire Annabelle has generated intense discussion. Many view her departure as a major upheaval because of her long-standing responsibility for managing the estate's interior design and her image as a reliable specialist. This decision hurts Queen Camilla personally. In addition to creating a significant void in the duchy's property management, it also marks a change in the balance of power within the royal family. Tensions inside the palace are predicted to increase as a result of William's strong stance against family reliance on the duchy. The departure of Annabelle Elliott under Prince William's direction signifies a significant shift in the administration of the Duchy of Cornwall. Queen Camilla, who is believed to have a particularly strong relationship with her sister, has been greatly impacted by this decision, which has garnered a lot of attention. According to reports, Camilla is inconsolable. She was reportedly spotted crying about the choice, according to some sources. Annabelle was well known for her services to the duchy, especially her skill in interior design, which improved the appearance and functionality of many houses. Her departure has raised questions about how the duchy's lands will be managed going forward and how this reorganization will affect its operations as a whole. Prince William has stated his commitment to modernize the duchy's management style in his capacity as Duke of Cornwall. Even while it was challenging, his choice to remove Annabelle from her professional role shows how committed he is to bringing royal financial practices into line with modern standards. Her dismissal appears to be a component of a larger plan to reduce costs and improve transparency, according to recent financial reports from the Duchy of Cornwall. William's changes coincide with increased financial scrutiny of the monarchy, and his behavior suggests a change to a system that is more accountable and regulated. The decision nevertheless reflects previous conflicts within the royal family, even though William's justification is based on financial prudence rather than personal grievances. The circumstance is similar to the exclusion of Camilla's son, Tom Parker Bowles, from some royal functions, which was said to have greatly upset Camilla. The Queen Consort may now have an even greater feeling of sorrow because Annabelle has also been rejected. There are significant concerns regarding how William will handle his changing role as future king in light of this most recent development. Does he intend to maintain a modernized monarchy by distancing himself from historical customs? Or is this a covert power grab that changes some royal family members' influence? One thing is certain when these shifts take place: Camilla is keeping a tight eye on everything. Furthermore, this decision's effects are far from ended.